So how do you make plant proteins complete? What are the techniques? One of the strategies that that means vegans and or entirely plant-based individuals, that they can use to complete the incomplete plant proteins is consuming a combination of plant-based proteins. In the case of vegetarians that consume dairy, or non-vegetarians, or any other person who consumes a wide variety of animal products, for them, even if they include just one source of protein, for instance, if they are consuming just chicken, okay, if they are including just chicken as a protein source or just eggs as a protein source every day, that will still suffice as a complete protein source. That will still help them get all of the essential amino acids. Just one protein source is enough for them. But in the case of plant-based individuals, it is not going to be enough. They will have to consume a combination, multiple different sources, a variety of plant-based protein sources to meet their requirements. This strategy works because although plant proteins are incomplete, they still contain a variety of essential amino acids. They are not incomplete in the same way. That means it's like a puzzle piece. Okay, it's like a puzzle. There are two puzzle pieces. Although they're incomplete, if you take them separately, when you combine them correctly, if they click correctly, then they form the larger picture. They help you form the larger picture. Similarly, we can think of our plant-based sources of protein as these puzzle pieces. Okay, as these puzzle pieces which need to all be acquired from different places. The problem is that all the puzzle pieces are not present in one food, which is why we have to include a variety of foods to acquire all of the different puzzle pieces. What are the different puzzle pieces? The different puzzle pieces are all of the essential amino acids. If you take multiple puzzle pieces, if you acquire all of them through different food sources, you will automatically meet your not just total protein requirements, but also your essential amino acid requirements. So ideally, our aim is not just to meet the total protein requirements, but also to meet the essential amino acid requirements. People who consume predominantly plant-based protein sources ideally need to eat a variety of plant-based sources to get all of their essential amino acids, like I mentioned. Next, let us just talk a little bit about what are these different combinations that we can use to fulfill our essential amino acid requirements. I'll give you a hint. It's not as difficult as it sounds. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Let's move on to the next section. Cereals and legumes are a good combination. Cereals are your things like grains, oats, wheat, rice. All of these are typical cereals that we can think of. And legumes are typically your dal, bean, pulses. All of them are considered to be your legume. Why are these a good combination? Because it turns out that cereals are high in methionine and low in lysine, whereas legumes are vice versa, ulta. They are reverse. Cereals are methionine and lysine, by the way, are both essential amino acids. So when I'm mentioning those, they are both essential amino acids. So they are both complementary to each other. Okay, so cereals are high in methionine, low in lysine. Legumes are high in lysine and low in methionine. So if you consume both of them together, they kind of just fit very well together because they complete each other. They are each other's better halves, if you were to put it in a romantic way. So as a result, when you consume these two together, you are getting a large variety of essential amino acids. Okay, a larger variety of essential amino acids. I'm not saying that cereals and legumes contain only methionine and lysine, by the way. They contain other essential amino acids as well. But this is one particular contrast between these two food groups. Here are some examples in which you can try to pair them. Some examples of such pairings: beans and rice, hummus and pita, lentils and quinoa. These are all examples of legumes and cereals being combined. Peanut butter and whole wheat bread, tofu stir fry with brown rice. Okay, all of these are some very good examples. A note that you need to just make is that it's not necessary that you need to consume these in the same meal. Okay, you don't need to consume these complementary foods in the same meal. They're called complementary because they kind of complete each other. So that's why we are calling them complementary foods also. So you don't need to eat them in the same meal. Not that you shouldn't eat them in the same meal. You can, but it's not mandatory for you to eat them in the same meal. Even if you eat them in two separate meals or any time throughout the day, it will still be useful. Finally, let's move on to the last part in protein, which is the different sources of protein. I think by now we have already covered the different sources. You already have an idea, so it's a bit redundant to look at it, but still it will give us a little bit more information.